Well, it's Friday, the spirits are high, and we're looking to bring this down to individual stocks that you need to track today. And for that, our entire team is standing by with a CNBC TV 18 list of top stocks to watch this morning. Hi, guys. Good morning to you, and welcome back to Vivek. Let's start off with a lot of the names. In fact, Vivek, since you've come back, and I hope you've recovered well, you're off the block first, tracking some of the MSCI changes.
Well, absolutely. Thanks. So, most of the changes that were expected from the MSCI have come largely in line with what the analyst community was anticipating. A couple of surprises. So first on our list, is Max Healthcare, expected by a few analysts on the street. Nuvama estimates that the likely inflows in this particular name will come in at $295 million. All of the changes that we are talking about are changes and are inclusions that will come into the MSCI Standard Index, the index that has the most weightage. The other one is Sona BLW Precision. Now, this particular stock will see inflows of close to $175 million. Now, this is a positive surprise. None of the analysts actually had this particular name on their list as a likely inclusion candidate. So, expect some, large moves in this particular name. Hindustan Aeronautics, a largely anticipated candidate, expect moves of close to $195 million. Industar is going to be excluded from the index. And lastly, Kotak Mahindra Bank, worth highlighting, a large weight up here. Expected lines, inflows of close to $810 million. And all of these inflows and outflows are estimates of Nuvama Institutional Equities.
All right. Thanks very much, Vivek. And these are stocks we will watch out for carefully. Now, Eicher Motors reported numbers. Rima is here to run us through the details. Rima, hi, morning.
Hi, morning. So strong numbers from Eicher Motors ahead of street expectations. Revenue growth 19% on a year-on-year basis. EBITDA margins at a fresh record high, expanding by 80 basis points to 24.5%, and this drove a 48.5% jump in the profitability. Royal Enfield has reported record high volumes in FY23. Jefferies says despite the ongoing two-wheeler slowdown, Eicher Motors has delivered the highest Royal Enfield volumes and EPS in FY23, which is why they have a buy call. Morgan Stanley believes there is a valuation headroom for Eicher Motors because the stock is trading at 23 times forward multiple, which is below its 10-year average of 27 times. But rising competition from global brands like Triumph and Harley keeps them equal weight on the stock. Back to you.
All right. Thanks a lot for that, Rima. So we'll keep an eye out on Eicher Motors. But Vivek, you're the busy man. Siemens came out with a set of numbers. How are they?
Well, exceptionally strong quarter from Siemens this time around, along expected lines given what its peers had announced earlier. But just have a look at the numbers. It's a clean beat across all parameters to our own poll. Revenues higher by 28%, EBITDA up almost 32.5%, margins coming in very strong at 12.8%, and profitability up almost 38.7%. Now, some more key numbers we look out for. The new ordering as far as Q4 is concerned is around 31,151 crore. Now, remember, this particular ordering activity involves the company booking in the order of the locomotive that they had announced in December. So 24,500 crore of order book actually coming in from that particular locomotive order itself. Core order inflow, up in high single digits at around 5,700 crore. Strong beat. Expect some green on the stock today.
Got that, Vivek. That's interesting. Of course, different companies, but at least Siemens hasn't shown the kind of margin issues that plagued L&T. And remember what happened yesterday with the stock. Okay, let's move on, and we have some more earnings to track. Sonal, you're looking at a couple of them?
Yes, let me start with GSPL, which was a good set, largely in line with what the street was working with. Revenues were up 10%, EBITDA was up 9.2%, margins declined, but that is because of the beat that we saw on EBITDA this time around. Net profit was up 31.2% to come in at 224 crore rupees, and PAT growth this time around was driven by higher other income as well, and that's why the profit growth is higher than EBITDA and revenue growth as well. Transmission volumes absolutely in line with estimates, came in at 25.1 MMSCMD. Deepak Nitrite, again, numbers were largely in line with Motilal Oswal estimates. Revenues up 5%. We had EBITDA declining by 15.2%. Margins also declined 400 basis points, but there's an expectation that margins will recover from here on. Profits were down 12.5%. Now, revenues also include a one-time government incentive to the tune of 17 crore rupees. Adjusting for that, margins will be around 17%. In terms of segments, advanced intermediates, that was the one which saw some pressure, where margins declined almost 1,000 basis points. And Phenolics, that was the one which saw some sequential recovery. So 15.1% versus 15% is what the margins were this time around. So the stock will be in focus today.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot for that, Sonal. Well, Reema, back to you. Zensar Tech, the numbers look good.
Yes, it's a pretty decent quarter. You know, Zensar Tech for the last 2 quarters, that's Q2 and Q3, was reporting a revenue decline. Finally, things have turned around and the company's reported a dollar revenue growth of 1.1%, constant currency revenue growth of 0.4%, sharp margin expansion of more than 300 basis points to 14.5%. Profits have gone up 55% on a quarter-on-quarter basis, and the cash in the books is more than $200 million, which is about 23% of the company's market capitalization. So considering that after 2 quarters of a revenue decline, the company's clocked in a growth, I'm going to go with green for this one. Back to you.
All right, so there we have it. That's Zensar. Thanks very much, Reema, and the rest of the team as well. Let's quickly recap our list of stocks to watch today. The ones that have positive news around them are Kotak Mahindra Bank, Max Healthcare, HAL, that's Hindustan Aeronautics, Sona BLW Precision. These are, of course, on the index changes, the MSCI changes, which are expected. Siemens, JSPL, Deepak Nitrite, Eicher Motors, and Zensar, all of them on the back of positive earnings. Stocks that have negative news around them, Indus Tower. Okay, so from equities, now let's look at what's happening in the world of commodities. We have Manisha Gupta joining in with all the action as always. Manisha, good morning.
Morning, Surbhi. Thank you for that. I'll start with crude oil prices, which is headed for a marginal positive in this week. I mean, we did see buying from the lower side, but it hasn't been able to hold above $75 a barrel for the crude prices there. Well, the decline in inventories for gasoline, distillate, jet fuel clearly has been supportive. And then markets will watch out on what U.S. does with its strategic petroleum reserve. That should be out in the next week as well. But a big profit taking is what we are dealing with in metal space. Silver prices, for one, fell by 5% overnight, and we have most of the base metal prices also trading at multi-month lows. Copper is at a 4-month lows, aluminum at 7-month lows with the kind of decline that we saw overnight, and zinc prices now are trading at a 26-month lows to trade at.
Okay, all right. Well, Manisha, thanks very much. So, yeah, commodities seem to be under pressure. We'll discuss some of this with Nishal Maheshwari of Centrum Broking as well, who is going to be coming up on the other side of this quick commercial break. Stay with us.